and I
and then
and then I
Cole
pull out
went
an onion and start eating it like an apple. Yeah. And I'm just getting sadder and sadder. Welcome once again to Chill Filtered, the podcast where we drink whiskey so you don't have to, but you probably should. Hey, you probably are. Hey, that's why we like you. You know what I was thinking the other day? I was thinking of doing an intro, not a change, but just a parody intro, being like, hey, welcome to the podcast where we meander. We get to the whiskey eventually. We're a long podcast. But if you're willing to hang in there while we just talk and be real and, try to be genuine human beings, then that's why we like you.
Yeah, if you stick around, that's why we like it.
Yeah, exactly. And there are plenty of people that do.
If not, tune into YouTube where you can just scrub right to the whiskey section.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so here's some business this week. Subscribe on YouTube so that you can skip through the parts you don't like, whether that's the whiskey drinking parts or the Shootin the Breeze parts. But yeah, that's one way you can support us. We're getting, we're picking up subscribers here and there, not at a good rate, but at a rate.
At a rate, yeah,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Rates can be negative. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, rates can be zero too. Yeah, that's when we support us. I almost called you Robbie. We were just talking about Robbie. So I apologize.
I'll take it. It's a compliment.
No, yeah. Brian, I'm gonna start today.
Good, yeah.
It is a stressful weekend, man. Oh, so okay. Last weekend, my parents had their final days visiting, and before that, I was on a work trip. Before that, we went to Disney. But my dad, I don't know if my dad got it first or whatever, but we all got COVID, and which was fine. It's fine. Like I'd still redo it again with my parents in town if I knew I was getting COVID. It's like one of those things where it's like, it's still worth it for you to visit, because we've had times in the past where it's like, oh, something came up like COVID or something like that, and we don't want to visit. I'm like, I don't even care. I'll get COVID to see you guys.
Right. Yeah.
But and let the kids get it or whatever. So, but then the hard thing was, so I've only had one pretty much confirmed case of COVID, and that was in early 2022 when the Omicron variant was like killing it. Like just like I remember watching the curves of infection rates or whatever they call it, and it was like shot up that month and a half.
Yeah.
And I was in that. I was like right around New Year's 2022. Right soon after we moved here to Virginia. And but that was, let's just say Beck tested positive and Heather and I were sick. So I was like, I'm sure that's COVID, but I've never actually tested positive for the virus. But now my dad got sick. He tested positive and then found out when he got home that he did test positive. And then he called, they called me and they're like, hey, just so you know, if you're sick, it's probably COVID. So that's what it is. But I'm pretty darn sure this one's COVID because I, for a day or two, lost completely my sense of smell and taste. In fact, so bad that I'm figuring it out while I'm talking to Brian, because we were going to record a few days ago. And I didn't even notice in the depths of the COVID that I was dealing with, which wasn't that bad at all. I didn't notice that my taste was gone. But it wasn't until I sipped whiskey, because it was the weekend and I try to only drink on recording days of the weekend, that I realized I couldn't taste the whiskey. And I was drinking a hazmat rye. And so I'm like worried. And then I pull out an onion and start eating it like an apple. Yeah. And I'm just getting sadder and sadder because I'm like, what if this takes months to come back? What if this, some people like dealt with it for like a year where they just couldn't taste anything or had like severely altered sense of taste and smell. And I can't say mine's like 100% right now, but it's a little better. I was literally drinking vinegar in front of Brian, like just drinking it from the jug. So that's how bad it was.
We should have done an episode just on vinegar. Just give some vinegar tasting notes.
Hey, vinegar is made from alcohol, so
If you
Oh, it
hadn't
is.
got your taste back at all for like a year, we would have had to just
Hmm.
change the whole theme of the
Yeah,
podcast
to a
to
vinegar
something else
podcast.
entirely.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
did I ever tell you I made bourbon vinegar at home? So here's how
No.
vinegar is made. So you ever have like that Bragg's apple cider vinegar that you can buy
Yeah.
in the store? It looks super organic and stuff. So in
Right.
that, they deliberately don't take out what's called the mother, which is a sort of like a, you ever heard of SCOBY for what do you call it? Someone's yelling at the screen right now. Kombucha. You ever heard of
And it's
that? It's
called
basically a
SCOBY?
yeah, it's called a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast, SCOBY.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay.
and so the thing about a SCOBY is it does two things in terms of a kombucha. It turns sugar into alcohol, like yeast will do. But then the bacteria on top of that yeast turns the alcohol into they're acetobacteria. They turn alcohol into acetic acid,
Mm,
and then basically in a kombucha you're getting a little bit of mixture of a slight amount of alcohol, but also more so vinegar because it's the final product.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and so, but yeah, alcohol provides like acetobacteria eat alcohol and turn it into
Yeah,
acetic acid, which
yeah,
is
yeah.
vinegar. Um, and so what you're supposed to do is probably not exceed 15% alcohol. So I watered down bourbon to get it to a decent proof, to like about 30 proof. And
Yeah.
then I added a mother acetobacteria kind of thing. They call it just
Nice.
vinegar mother. And it started to eat away at it and started to turn it into a vinegar. It wasn't the strongest of vinegars, but it was kind of
Oh,
cool that it was like based off of bourbon and not
yeah,
like wine or something else. Like yeah.
yeah.
So
Well,
now you
instead of
know.
watering down bourbon,
Mhm.
you could have just used Basil Hayden.
That's true. Now you think about
Um,
it, yeah. I think I
and
originally used. Go ahead.
gotta be said, shout out to my wife, one of my wife's best friends.
Uh
Her
huh.
last name is Scobie.
Nice. Shout out to
Yeah,
Scoby girl.
it's spelled a little differently, but yeah, it was really funny when you said Scobie. I was like, Scobie?
Yeah, you're like, did they name it after our friend? That's funny. But yeah, that I don't know where we started with the vinegar. I was drinking pure vinegar. So anyway,
Yeah,
I got a little
right.
bit of a taste back, but I'm gonna give a
Yeah.
caveat to anyone who's listening or viewing this episode that I'm gonna try to get some notes out of this, but like I can taste my entry buzz a little bit. Um,
Which is a hazmat
and
rye.
smell. Yeah, it has my rhyme. And the funny thing was the other day when I was drinking it, like I didn't even taste like the burn. It was weird.
Yeah, crazy.
Um, because I didn't think the burn was like exactly taste senses, more so like your mouth burning. Um,
Yeah.
but it was
But
weird. And then yeah,
you did go get the antidote today, though. The
was
antidote
that?
being Taco Bell.
That's true. Cool it all down.
Yeah.
Although,
Yep.
yeah, I never regret Taco Bell, as I've
Mhm.
mentioned probably 100 times on this podcast.
Yeah, right.
But
Iron Gut Seabald over here.
yep, stomach of a vulture. But yeah, that's me. So anyway, on top of that all, I'm just gotta be real, gotta be real. I've just been very emotional this weekend. Like very like on edge and not for studying. Um like
Yeah.
very frustratingly just emotional and like I just had a little bit of anger earlier that I was like, where's this coming from? And yeah, it sucks. I don't like to feel that way, and
Well,
I
I
can't
know,
like fully put my finger on it either.
yeah. Well, I know your anniversary is, if
Today.
not today. Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, and I know you've been looking forward to dinner out with the wife and everything,
Mhm.
and so, like, I feel like it should be, a nice relaxing weekend, so the fact that
Totally.
you have to deal with all this, I'm sure is just, like, contrasting against your idea of, like, "I was supposed to enjoy this weekend."
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yesterday we spent like almost the whole day working on yard work with my father-in-law, which is
Yeah.
fine. I love that. I love that he helps, but you can't step away from that. When someone else is working on your lawn, you can't be like, "All right, you take it from here." Which is like,
bust out the lawn chair, get a lemonade,
yeah.
and just watch.
And I
Yeah.
can't be the one to say, let's take a break now when they're not wanting to take a break. And
Gotcha.
so it's like, I got to just keep helping. But I'm
Yeah.
also not that type of guy that's like, I'm going to knock out everything in one day. I'm like, nah, we'll get to it. But when someone else is leading the way, I can't just walk away. So,
Right. Gotta be appreciative. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And I am for sure.
Right.
So yeah, how are things over in the rap side?
Yeah, things are good. Yeah. So get this.
Mhm.
Man, there was you remember those Fry's events I was telling you about?
Yeah.
Fry's grocery
Mhm.
store.
Yeah.
I don't know, 2 months ago, they were having these events where they had tables full of allocated whiskeys, and
Yeah.
people would go camp out for like 24 hours.
Mhm.
And then the first like 6 people in the door grab CYPBs, and there's
Mhm.
tons of other stuff. Anyway, they did another one they
Oh,
just this
nice.
past week,
Mhm.
and so the guy who put it on, his name's Mark. He posted in all the Facebook groups, as he
Uh-huh.
does, to say, hey, we're having another event, and he said, like, this one is gonna be worth lining up for, so
Oh,
don't miss
wow.
it. And
Don't
so
tell me
I
there was
was
like
thinking about
double
going
eagle
because it was
very
actually,
rares and everything. Oh,
I
go ahead.
know, right?
Yeah.
Well, it was on an off Friday for me, so the stars
Interesting.
were kind of aligned, where I was like, man, I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna go.
Mhm.
Like, my absolute maximum willingness to go wait in a line. It's got to be with friends, so I at least have
Mhm.
somebody to hang out
Yeah,
with the whole time.
totally.
And B, it can't be more than like 3 hours. I feel
Mhm.
like if it was just me by myself, and like
Yeah.
no like friends could go with me, maybe like an hour and a half,
Uh-huh.
2 hours tops. But I was like entertaining the idea of going at like 4:45, because it started at
Uh-huh.
8 a.m.
Nice. Yeah.
And so the day before, I ended up just having this like stressful day at work, and
Uh-huh.
I had to work until like 9 p.m.
Oh, rough.
And I was just like, I'm not gonna want to wake up tomorrow morning
Mhm.
and go, so I'm just gonna plan on sleeping in. Screw it. And so the
Oh,
next
no.
morning comes, 8 a.m.
Mhm.
rolls around, and I'm texting people that I know are there, and I'm like, hey, so what's
Mhm.
a scoop? What did I miss out on? Turns out it was just like Blanton's,
Oh, it's
EH
such a
Taylor
relief.
Small Batch, and
Oh.
Stag, and like it was just that like base level Buffalo
Oh,
Trace
that's such a relief.
allocations.
Yeah.
And there were people who camped out for like 25
That
hours,
sucks.
because Mark said in his post, this
Yeah.
is one you're
Dude, I
going to
would
want
never
to
trust
line
that
up
guy
for.
ever again.
I
Was
know,
it
right?
multiple
So
fries or was it just one?
I it you know it might have been multiple. I
Mhm.
didn't really dig into it much, but
Yeah.
I the one that I noticed was the one closest to my
That's
house, so that was
crazy.
why I was considering going. But I think he just copy pasted from his, maybe,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't remember, but I think he copy pasted from his posts
Yeah.
previously, so it
Mhm.
included the phrase, "You're not going to want to miss this one." It was like,
Oof.
it turns out I did want to miss this one.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
I've been
so that
there.
was funny.
What was that one
Total
time? Yeah.
bust, and
Yeah, one
so
time I
glad I
waited,
didn't go.
like, 5 or 6 hours for a stag junior for just a stag. I was like, "Ugh."
Well, I
I mean, I
remember,
waited, like, 5
that
hours in the rain for a Mick 10, but that turned out to be a killer bottle, actually. Mick
yeah,
10
right. Oh,
bourbon,
was that
yeah.
the bourbon?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in the day that you ended up only getting the stag,
Mhm.
the idea was, well, it was even on the list. Don't they publish lists? You don't know
Yeah.
what
I was
each
hoping
store
to get,
has,
like,
but
a, Mr. Sam or something like that, or yeah.
yeah, that's what it was. I knew there was
Mhm.
something crazy that was going to be at some
Or there
stores,
was
but
a limited edition, for roses too,
Four Roses?
but it didn't
Yeah,
didn't
that's
make
what I
it
was
to our
thinking.
store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or struck out, and thereby you struck out. Yeah.
Yep. Um,
Happens.
but then
Oh,
yeah.
one other major,
Mhm.
major thing. In part of this community that I'm in, for a friend of the
Mhm.
podcast, Your Drinking Buddy, on
Uh-huh.
YouTube. There's everybody loves this restaurant called Nana's Kitchen down in
Okay.
Tucson. And I've been there a couple of times. I love it too. It's great. Great whiskey selection, award-winning margaritas, as we've
Nice.
discussed before.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had a little get together down there because we took Emma down
Nice.
to Tucson so that she could meet her great grandma,
Oh,
who
nice.
is turned 100. So
Oh, wow.
we had yeah, what 4 generations
That's crazy.
of my wife's side of the family there all together. So that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
But so we took Emma down to Tucson, and so Sam went over. Actually, Sam went over to Scobie's house and took
Nice.
Emma, and I went to Nana's Kitchen and met
Nice.
up with. There was a crew of like, I don't know, 12 to 15 people there
Nice.
who all decided,
Mm-hmm.
hey, let's all go to Nana's Kitchen. And so I got a pour of Bardstown Discovery 12 while I
Nice.
was there.
Okay.
Have you heard of
Is it really good?
Yeah, it is really good. If you see a
Okay.
Bardstown Discovery 12, you're
We
totally
had
going to want to pick
two
one up.
Bardstown Bourbon Company at my local ABC store. I want to see if it's the one. Oh, look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Discovery 12, first on the search list. Let's see. Rivers
I'm
Bend.
curious
Discovery
if it's in
12.
stock.
Oh, it was in stock 2 days ago. Yeah.
Oh, yeah? But it's not now,
Yeah.
though, yeah?
But it's not now. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
And I saw it in
it might
store
be
and
a
I was
little
just like,
difficult to
I don't
find.
know about this enough. So I didn't buy it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really good. If there was ever
Nice.
one for you to give it a shot and see if you like it,
Maybe this one.
Discovery 12,
Rough.
100%. Yeah.
Now I have no chance.
Well, they might stock up here soon, but
Yeah.
anyway, I also got a pour of something else,
Uh-huh.
Double Eagle Very Rare.
No, for how much?
Yeah, so Marco had a bottle at Nana's Kitchen, or he still does actually, and
Wow.
he was willing to go down to half-ounce pours.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
For 100 plus?
about 3 sips worth for
Yeah, yeah.
for $75.
Okay. I would
Yeah.
think about it. I would
I
consider
mean,
it.
I figured, when is
Yeah.
this gonna happen again? And yeah,
Seriously.
like even you guessed 100 plus. I mean, I
Yeah.
felt like I was happy to drop less than $100 for a
Yeah.
couple sips of Double Eagle Very Rare. And
Now was
man,
it
it
good?
is the sweetest,
Nice.
oakiest, cherriest. I mean,
Oh,
I don't think I've ever tasted more candy cherry on a
nice.
whiskey ever. It
Nice.
was the sweetest, oakiest, cherriest
We gotta
whiskey I've
find
ever
us a
had.
bottle of that. What's the
It was
retail?
Yeah, I think it's 2.2K or something like that.
Sounds about right.
It was, obviously it was just a very good whiskey. It did not
Mm-hmm.
like change my life, but
Yeah.
I'm happy to have just been able to try it
Yeah.
once. So thank you, Marco. Thank you for having an
Mm-hmm.
amazing whiskey selection at Nana's Kitchen.
I be crazy to try. Hey Emma.
Oh, I was
Um
curious if you could hear that.
no, just
She's
that
actually
one.
way down the hallway.
Oh nice.
Yeah, she's very happy
Um
though.
that's a good time. A little happy crybaby. Happy
Yeah.
yell. Um what was I thinking? Oh, the Eagle Rare 25 would be like
Oh yeah.
the crazy one though.
I know, right?
Crazy.
Is the proof on that like 101?
Probably. It's probably not higher than that, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know. I can't
Eagle.
imagine it's not cast strength, or else I would have known that.
Yeah. You're seeing it secondary market at like 40K.
Yeah,
At least
I
on,
saw an
yeah.
auction at 30. Yeah, yeah.
Whew. Let's see. Does it have 101? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they
Wow. Eagle
would.
Rare
101 is
25.
just like the Eagle Rare proof.
Yeah.
Or wait,
Although
is it? Isn't Eagle Rare
it
17 101?
it is now, but for
Yeah.
years it hadn't been.
Yeah, it's 90 or
Although
whatever.
I do love the Eagle Rare 17 at the 90 proofs. I've realized that
Is
like
the 20
sometimes it's even better.
is your 2014 the 90 proofs?
2014 is 90. It only started to
Yeah.
be 101 in like I want to say 2001 or sorry 2021.
Oh.
Um,
Oh wow, recently.
yeah, but up in like from the beginning of Eagle Rare 17, it's been 90 proof. But the only reason they
Yeah.
changed it was because the original before even Eagle Rare like single barrel or Eagle Rare 10 were around, those were all 90 proof with Buffalo Trace. But before it was a Buffalo Trace product, it was technically like a Seagram slash Four Roses started it, I believe, the brand.
Oh,
And that was a 101 proof. And you can see old bottles of it, and it'll say 101 proof. Yeah.
nice. That's cool.
Now you know. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
I know.
looking at this bottle, it's just crazy. Of Eagle Rare 25. It's
At
so
25,
beautiful.
yeah, it looks amazing. Yeah. While we're talking about Buffalo Trace here for the Buffalo Trace section of the podcast, this section is brought to you by Buffalo Trace.
Yeah.
My entry buzz today, I decided to finally kill this store pick stag that I've got here
from Trevor's.
This is it's the Trevor's. It's the 139.9.
Is that the one you got me?
Proof. No, yours is like 130, something like that. 130.2.
Yeah, 130.2.
Boom.
Yep.
Anyway, this deserved to die. It was good, but it wasn't that good. It was more fiery, and it needed more well-roundedness, and it did not have that.
That's
so
okay.
Once again, 2 episodes in a row, it gets torched, and I learned my lesson last time. I grabbed a lighter that I can
so you don't burn your arm hairs,
burn my face off. All right, you ready for this? 1, 2, 3.
I'm ready. Right in front of the. Ooh, another good one.
Nice, good.
That's pretty cool. I wonder if I have anything I can burn. No, not right now. All right, with that,
you got any paper?
Nice. Yeah. Got any kindling? With that, I guess we will send it to our break real quick, but then we'll come back. We'll talk about some of the history of what we're drinking today, which is the 13th Colony 2024 Double Oaked Bourbon, which I've never had any of their double oaks, but I hear great things from the past. But and then here's the cool thing: before we go to break, this isn't even announced yet. Like, so it hasn't even been released to the public yet.
The bottle, they sent out.
I mean, it's been announced, but it hasn't been released to the public.
Yeah.
So let's go to a quick break. We'll be back. We'll talk history. We'll drink. So here we go to break. And we're back. It was a nice walk break. So I have my notes on computer screen today. So it will look a little different, but it is the same kind of thing. So today, like I said, real quick notes to get to. We are, like I said before, go for launch for the 2024 Chill Filtered Meetup. If you'd like to take a part of it in Phoenix, whether you live there or not, hit us up on Instagram or at chillfilteredpodcast@gmail.com. Little or no cost outside of the travel and stay. So some some groups are just going to charge you so they can pay for, or you can do a bunch of stuff. Not us, not this time. We're going to do a Found North barrel pick, a bottle share, night out at a whiskey bar, distillery tour with Del Bach, get this, not only with Del Bach, but with barrel samples that they're going to pull for us.
Straight from the barrel.
Straight from the friggin' barrel. And we're going to do a re-entry buzz, blind tasting tournament for our listeners, stuff like that. Live recorded episode and more. Big thanks also to 13th Colony, before we get into this episode, for providing the samples, which we are poured today. 13th Colony 2024 Double Oaked Bourbon. We've done a few recent even 13th Colony pours on the podcast at this point. Episode 291, we did the Hazmat Single Barrel Rye from them. Episode 309, we did their limited release cast strength bourbon. That was their 2024 release. And then most recently, we did their 15th anniversary bourbon, which I believe was 319 was our was that episode number, but I didn't write it down. So let's quickly cover the distillery, and then we'll cover what makes this whiskey amazing, as well as their upcoming sweepstakes to get yourself a bottle. So 13th Colony is based in Americus, Georgia. The distillery takes its name from Georgia's historical significance as one of the original 13 colonies that formed the United States. Though it wasn't the 13th, but it's one of the 13. Yeah.
Are we sure about that?
Yeah. Rhode Island was the 13th to ratify the Constitution. But if we're talking about the
Oh.
Declaration, we don't know exactly what order it was signed in, as John Hancock kind of stole the scene and wrote it really big. And you're like, okay, John. And then, but anyway, so they don't really know, like, it technically it was the 13th state to ratify, or to, like, declare independence. But they were
Gotcha.
one of the first 13. And so apparently started by a group of friends. They said on their website, quote, "We pride ourselves on sourcing local and regional materials whenever possible," even though most of this is probably from Indiana. Um, Everything from using the corn from our private farm and water from our oldest aquifer in the Southeast. We strive to bring these amazing resources together and create truly unique and inspired spirits. And so we've talked about this before. They do make some of their own stuff, but most of their older stuff is coming from likely Indiana. But the stuff they make is apparently pretty local. Over the years, the distillery has gotten good attention from its range of spirits, including bourbon, whiskey, vodka, and rum. They started in 2009, becoming the first post-prohibition distillery in Georgia. Master distiller, I forget what his name is. Is that the Graham guy?
Oh
Arthur
no. Yeah,
Graham?
let me look. Oh, that
I
sounds
think it is.
familiar. Yeah. I'll double check.
But yeah, do that. He's a U.S. Coast Guard vet, trained as a classical chef originally. He is behind every barrel that gets released, or at least signs off on each one. You got to appreciate signing off on barrels. Here's what I've noticed. Really crazy stuff. Like, you look at this bottle. This is a really dark juice. And so you're like, okay, what's causing that? And really what I think it comes down to is likely just those southern heat and humidity days down in southern Georgia. It's not only hot, but humid, and both have a very strong impact on the aging of liquid and, bourbon or rye. Most of the stuff is sourced, like I said, but apparently they do distill everything from vodka to gin to whiskey as well. Their main offerings in the whiskey department are their Southern bourbon and their Southern rye whiskey, both 95 proof and aged between 4 to 6 years, depending on And then they say minimum 4, but they will pull the barrels when they are ready. The Southern rye has a toasted French oak spiral finish. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
95.5 mash bill too. The Southern bourbon, from what I found, doesn't involve the French oak at all. But let's talk about what we're drinking today. The Double Oaked Bourbon 2024 release. This is an annual release. Hard to find bottles. Apparently only 3,570 bottles for the whole world right now for this release. This is the 2024 release, like I basically mentioned. Proof 133.74. So it's pretty hot. Finished with toasted maple wood. And even on their thing, they mentioned how on their it's almost ambiguous. It doesn't mention okay. So here's what it says verbatim: 13th Colony Double Oaked Bourbon is bottled at cask strength and is uniquely matured in separate charred oak barrels to extract additional soft, sweet oak character. I believe them that it's double oaked, but it just sounds weird how they worded it there. I'm not claiming
Separate.
they're up to something. Yeah, but it's like
Right.
separate. What do you mean separate? Like, it is uniquely matured and separate. Like, separate from what? The original barrel? It makes sense that would be it. And I'm not questioning
Yeah.
them. It's just weirdly worded. But then I was like, well, maybe they meant the secondary, like the finish with a toasted maple wood, but then you can't call it double oaked. You can call it double wooded,
Right.
but
Yeah.
not
Right.
double
Right.
oaked. So I'm sure they're doing great things in terms of what it is. But I was like, why does that have to be so ambiguous? Minimum 8
Yeah.
years, up to 10-year barrels went into this. Total wine price, if you're able to find it, somewhere between 180 and 200 likely. But let's talk about their sweepstakes. If you go to their website,
Yeah.
you'll be able to find up until October 15th, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, up
Yeah.
until noon or whatever.
Yep. Eastern.
Okay, cool. Noon Eastern. Get on top of that. Their website, you can go to their sweepstakes and be able to buy a bottle. here's the catcher though, or the catch. You got to drive to their distillery or find someone who's able to pick it up from the distillery for you, which is in southern Georgia. So, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So let's
Love it.
let's sip this stuff. I got my
Yeah.
Coke
If you're
down
listening to
here, or
this,
bottles, glass.
if you're listening to this episode the day it comes out, you've got 2 whole weeks
2 weeks.
to enter the sweepstakes. Oh yeah, and actually the coolest part about it is if you win on the sweepstakes, your pickup window goes into like December.
Yeah, into December. So you got a while.
Yeah. If you end up winning, you've got plenty of time to figure out how the heck to get there. And from what I've heard from years past, you're gonna want to get there. Oh, and one more thing too.
Yeah.
You were very, very close on the master distiller name. His name is Graham Arthur.
Graham Arthur. That's what it is. Yeah. Not Arthur Graham. No, that's cool.
And he was very, very nice and friendly when I emailed him.
Oh, nice. That's right. I remember that.
Shout out to Graham Arthur. Oh,
even chipped in a Glencairn, right?
Glencairn. Let's get a ding for Graham Arthur here.
Yeah.
And so I'm also simultaneously, my double oaked is already poured, but I am pouring the 15th anniversary
nice
bottle here,
compare.
so I can sip it side by side.
So I'm going to remind our listeners and viewers that my palate and my nose are not prime right now. So I'm not even going to give a score. I'm going to rely on Brian to do that duty. I'm going to try to enjoy it, though.
Look how dark this is.
Yo.
Can't even see me on the other side.
Dark.
Goodness. Okay, wait. Is it darker than the 15th anniversary? Yes.
Oh, wow.
Much, much darker.
Wait, which one are you drinking right now?
Double Oak is in etched.
That's darker.
And then 15th anniversary is in the 13th Colony.
I guess it makes sense with double oaked, it's oaked twice. Picks up more of the barrel stuff. Okay. All I can say is I like it. But really I got nothing more than that. And I hate to say it. So
did you pour all your sample out? Did you pour out?
I got this much left.
Good. For another day.
Yeah. Exactly.
It is big
God
time.
gives me my senses back.
It is oaky Coca-Cola on the nose. The nose isn't as sugary sweet as I expected. A lot of times I get like an artificially sweet thing with double oaked stuff. The nose at least stays like a dry tannic, expecting it to be tannic on the palate. But the nose stays dry with a sweet oak cola.
Yeah. I guess I'm getting a little bit of that cola on the palate. It's not a bad thing. It's not like it's a flat cola to me. It's not like a fresh Coca-Cola. It's kind of like a flat Coke. But don't listen to me, listeners and viewers. This is not a real note. Like I gotta say that every time I give a Coke note. Yeah,
we still love you. It's all right. Good news. Very good news.
Good.
This is an elevated pour for me. This is a pour that takes me on a journey here. The palate has a couple different levels and the finish has a couple different levels, and it swings from immediately on the palate. It's like a dry tannic. It's a little bit of moisture wicking, and then and you get a lot of the cola soda notes, and then as the finish begins to start, the sugary sweetness like ramps up to 11.
Nice.
So like I was like, oh, come on, where's that sweetness at? And it really rolls in late into the pour for a lot of the sugary sweet candy going on. It's like
I'm definitely getting sweet notes.
It's like the root beer candies that are shaped like a barrel. You know what I'm talking about?
That. I hear what you're saying completely.
It's that level. It's that level of sweetness. Like you can tell that there's a lot of sugar there, but it is not like overly sweet, because those candies don't just like saturate your mouth with sweetness per se. It's like like root beer is. It's kind of like oaky sweetness.
Yeah.
And that's totally what's going on here.
I used to make my own root beer. It was
Oh,
hard. Yeah. It's pretty hard to get a good, because what I wanted was creamy kind of consistency. A lot of sassafras and sarsaparilla, but also like hints of wintergreen and stuff like that, which is what I get from my favorite ones, which we've talked about before, which I still have a few of those bottles still in my garage.
Yeah.
Nice. And love it when I get to drink them. Shout out to Bulldog Root Beer Company.
That's what it is. Yeah, I couldn't remember.
And yeah, so I used to make some, and I used to do it at like a natural kind of mix, or not a natural mix, like a natural process of making soda and root beer. But I just could never get it to be like strong enough in flavor.
Yeah,
but it was still good.
Nice. There is, you might have talked me into this, I'm not sure, but there is a little minty quality going on here.
Ooh.
It's very much on the back end, late in the finish. There's a little menthol freshness that lingers in your mouth after the sip. And another thing too, is when you sip this and you're savoring the palate and you're savoring the finish, when you think the finish has got to be okay, it's about done by now, it just keeps going. And so like it hits the level where it impresses you because the finish is still going as late as it is. Yeah.
I mean, as far as I'm drinking it, it's nothing bad about it, but maybe that's also wrong. Maybe everything's wrong.
No, you're good. Have
that
more
Interpol
confidence,
song?
Cole. More confidence. Yeah, I know a lot of Interpol songs actually.
The one that everything is wrong.
Well, so my
one?
memory's not the best, but yeah, I don't know.
You would have known that one.
I'm sure if I heard
Interpol fan.
I've seen Interpol live at least 3 times.
Nice. Dude, Interpol's great.
Yeah.
The first time I ever learned Interpol was I think I was in Colorado. I think I was in Colorado, and they played randomly like a song. I think it was All the Rage Back Home, which was one of their later albums. Or at least a single from one of their later albums. And I was like, who's this band? And then one of my other favorite bands made a song that kind of sounded a lot like Interpol, which was brand new, made a song that sounded a lot like Interpol. And I was like, this sounds like Interpol. And I went on YouTube and looked up the video of the song itself. And people were like, Interpol ? And I'm like, I'm not alone. So anyway, that's
nice.
the story there.
I'm giving this more sips neat than I normally would, because I actually realized maybe I should have saved it so that I could do ice and water in different pours. But anyway, so I'm focusing on neat more. There is, now that I'm 3 sips in, there's less sweetness than I expected, in a good way, because it's not a defining, the sweetness and the sugariness is not a defining attribute of the palate. And it is more dry, and it's more impressive that way, where it's not just trying to be the double oakiness that you get from this, doesn't verge into the territory of like artificially sweet like I was afraid of previously. Yeah. This pour, the palate just ends up having a lot more depth than I expected. The finish lasts much longer than I expected. And the sweetness is there, but it's not too much. I think it's really, really good.
Nice. I had a really cool thought. It's gone. But I will say it's not bad, but I don't really know what I'm tasting. Okay. Oh, one thing I do need to mention, and then it's probably best to mention it here. We might not be doing a re-entry buzz for a few weeks, depending on my palate and how much it comes back. But sadly, we'll probably go a week or two without a re-entry buzz. Hopefully, if you cross your fingers enough, I will be back soon with a better. And hopefully these episodes are better in terms of the tasting. I had like I told you this. I was like almost depressed on Friday, like night, because I was like, what if like I actually don't get this back quickly? And I was like, not only do I enjoy whiskey, but I enjoy food quite a bit, and so that made me worried too. I was like, what if I can't enjoy food for a while? Food's such a comfort for me. So
yeah.
so far,
At
I
least
had Taco Bell today.
Bell
Yeah.
can cut through. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, I think we should keep the reentry buzzes rolling personally.
And just
I mean,
you win everyone.
yeah.
Like I think
You-
this is pinhook high proof rye. And I'll say that every time until I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Maybe this will be
Or
the time that maybe it'll taste really good too for you
yeah,
having
that's
COVID
true.
and tasting pinhook high proof
Yeah.
rye.
I
Yeah.
mean, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't good. Yeah, from what I remember.
All I know is I'm really excited to finally pull it one of these days.
Yeah, after I mean, I could do the math on how long, like what the expected value would be of our collection of almost 200 in our sample that is continually growing, for the record.
I know, yeah.
We might never do it. Theoretically, we might never actually do that one.
I know. I was talking to Max the other day, at least I think it was Max. And he said something about a sample that he'd given, and I was like, well, there's a 0.05 chance that we'll pull it or something like that.
Yeah, less than
0.05% chance.
0.005. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, sorry, but maybe someday we'll get to it.
Yeah. I mean, if it's not like William Lou Weller, it might be in there for a while. But that's the thing. If we run out, like lately, dude, we have the next 3 or 4 episodes lined up in terms of what we're drinking. So should we mention what we're drinking next week?
I just realized I haven't even sipped my 15th anniversary at all yet. I totally forgot.
Funny.
I'm so focused on this.
So actually, it's not next week. Please, it's the week after, right?
Please do mention. Yeah. What are we talking about?
Wait, yeah. So in a week from now, we're having Nick Taylor back on. Not a week from now.
Yeah. Nice.
It'll be 2 weeks from this episode when it comes out.
Yeah.
But we're stoked. And then we have Raconteur Rye, which is a creation from Rare Bird 101. I forget what his real name is, David something or something like that. But anyway, he's a big deal in the whiskey community, and he put out his own rye, and apparently it's getting a lot of great attention. So there's that. And then we had one more. Cellar Age, Maker's Cellar Age that we got to try.
Got to get on that.
2024 Maker's Cellar Age. The last time we had Cellar Age was our last episode with Robbie.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, and shout out to
away on me.
So back before I was a co-host, like the samples came from Brian Rapp. Yeah. But now that I am a host, I gotta full disclosure it, because you wouldn't want to have explained 2 hops, but those samples were from Brian Duncan and David Lipinski, I believe, both Patreon subscribers. Thank you very much. But yeah, we last year when the Maker's Cellar Age dropped. Nice. Good things. When the Cellar Age dropped, that was like one of my big misses last year. I just wasn't free on the day that they dropped, so I wasn't able to pick one up. And but both David and Brian got them, and like that day, it was like, well, you want to come over and crack them and see what it tastes like? So and then of course, that day they were like, here, let's pour some for the podcast. So yeah, and that was back before I was even on the show. So
that's
they're
crazy. Awesome. Love those guys.
Yeah, for sure.
What does David do? Does he work with you?
No, David is CPA, I believe. He's he's a tax guy of some caliber.
So he's got some time on the off seasons, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure his work comes and goes, but I think he owns his own firm. I think he's got his own business that he runs.
That's cool. Shout out to the Lipinski CPA firm. Yeah. All right. Have you drank it in every variety yet?
No. Well, I'm so behind. I just sipped the 15th anniversary.
Which one's better?
The 15th anniversary has more complexity.
Okay.
the 15th anniversary has different. It's got maple going on. It's got a little more sugary sweetness going on. It's
Okay.
got like a little earthy funkiness that the
Okay.
Double Oaked doesn't quite have for me. The 15th anniversary, on the other hand, though, does not have as long and nice of a finish as the Double Oaked.
Nice.
I think the Double Oaked finish crushes the 15th anniversary finish,
Nice.
because the 15th, and please believe me, they're both just tremendous pours, but the 15th fades off
Okay.
in like a bitterness that just kind of fades off for that finish, which again is tasty.
Yeah.
But the Double Oaks finish maintains a good balance of sweetness with the bitterness as it goes on for just days. I'll be tasting it tomorrow. So I think overall, which do I prefer of that one sip of the 15th that I had? I think I prefer the Double Oaked because generally I'm more impressed by long finishes. So
Nice.
I think the Double Oaked wins for me because of that.
So are you gonna sign up for the sweepstakes?
Already did. I'll
Nice.
figure out a
I
way to
might
get
have
out there.
two already. I forget if I
I
did. I think I
I
did.
bet you did.
Yeah,
Because
I think
I
I did.
as soon
Because it came
soon
in
as they
email,
announced
right?
it,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure, for sure. By the way, the sweepstakes, they will be selecting 90 winners
That's
from
it.
that sweepstakes.
And the rest
That
are
is
going, I assume, national.
Yeah,
What do you call it?
distribution.
So yeah.
So yeah, not a lot of people getting selected for
Yeah.
that sweepstakes. So if you win that sweepstakes, you are a lucky duck.
Yeah. Seriously.
Oh, and another thing too. I am under the impression that they only sampled out one bottle of Double Oaked.
Sounds
But
like it. And we got the very
based off
last dregs. Yeah.
based
And by
off the
dregs, I mean
wording,
close to 2 ounces. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, based off the wording of their email, when
Mm-hmm.
I asked for a sample, it sounded like they only sampled out one bottle. So we are,
Yeah.
one, well, I guess two of about 13 or so people who were able to get samples.
Yeah.
So thank you
Seriously.
again. Thank you very much, 13th
Cheers.
Colony.
Yeah. Yeah. We've only given them high praise thus far, and as they deserve. I've given them neutral praise this time. No, I'm kidding. I'm sure it's great. I match
To
Brian's score.
the best of your ability. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. We almost went a week or we almost skipped a week this week. Like we were like
I know,
this
right?
close to first time in years since that's ever happened.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Yeah.
Man, so yeah, this being all on me now, man. I'm really, really
High
dragging this out.
press. No, you're good.
Really, really savoring this. I did just drop a couple drops of water though just now.
That's it.
And I might forgo ice. I might. I don't
Nice.
know. We'll see. We'll see. I'll
Actually,
make
from
up
what
my
I
mind.
tasted, it tasted a lot like with the water, which
Mm-hmm.
tasted a lot like the neat. Yeah.
Well, when you got something so thick and viscous, I
Mm,
am getting more sweetness on the palate with water.
okay. Okay.
The late on the palate, right around when the finish starts, there's a little fruity thing that goes on here too now.
Ooh.
There's a little bit of that funk I like. It's a very dark fruit. I mean, it's like a
Mhm.
blackberry, really, really deep
Okay.
that comes out with a couple drops of water there.
Nice.
I dig the water a lot, actually.
Speaking of which, speaking of blackberry, is that a Russell's 15 behind you?
Maybe.
You got one.
I did.
Nice. How'd you get
I
it?
did, at great cost. I
Oh,
I did go out of my way
nice.
to
Is
get
it
one.
good?
Let's just say at no discounts.
Yeah.
I did go ahead and decide that
Nice.
My life would not be the same if I never got one. So yeah.
Nice. And where is this? 3 bottles in. What is that?
All right, which side?
Right next to your hand, like on the bottom row. You can't see this? Where I'm pointing? Yeah, right there.
Oh, literally. Oh, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
one right there.
Third one in.
Funny, man, I'd have you guess, but there's no freaking way you'd ever guess.
Is that the
Let-
one in the third one looks like a mic drop?
oh nah. All right. This is, actually, I'm remembering now. I told the story on the podcast. This is
Yeah,
Pokeno.
the New
This is
Zealander.
the New Zealand single malt, and this is
What
the one where
uh
I thought I had found it. It's the distilled date was a date that Sam
Oh,
and I
that's
were
right.
literally
They mixed
driving
it up.
past the distillery. Yeah. And then it turns
Yeah.
out, European, they do the month and the day backwards.
Yeah.
But anyway, fun story.
Wait, but
We
what was
did
the
literally drive right by it.
the bottle two to the other side of that? Yeah, right there. No,
Right there.
one more further.
Oh,
Yeah,
that one?
with that one. Yeah.
That's a Raconteur Rye, which we
Oh,
need
that's what I
to.
thought it might be. Yeah. I was like either that or a mic drop. Yeah.
Dang, good eye. If you could tell
Thanks.
that was maybe a Raconteur Rye, I'm
Yeah,
impressed.
crossed my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Have you sipped it yet?
All right.
Was that batch
No,
one or
what-
batch two?
I'll tell you a funny story. Yeah. Well, okay, I'm gonna drop my ice and I'll tell the story really
Drop an
quick,
ice
and then I'm
and
gonna
tell.
slam the rest of this.
Yeah.
The Raconteur Rye, all signs point to Brian is gonna love the hell out of this.
Nice.
So batch 2 came out, and I had never sipped batch 1 yet. And we have batch 1 samples from, God, I wish who could remember gave us it's in the pool. Batch 1 Raconteur Rye.
That's great.
And so I was like, I need to know if I'm gonna love this, because again, all signs point to I'm gonna love this. So I need to know if I need to purchase a batch 2. So I went to the sample pool and I pulled out the Raconteur Rye batch 1, and I took like the tiniest swig off the top.
Cheater.
I know, just to see if I liked it enough. And like from that one sip, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and buy a batch 2.
Nice. Where'd you get it?
Yeah. I got it one of those seal box or whatever.
Shared pour or something.
Yeah, I definitely bought it online from it was definitely seal box. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. That's cool.
All right. All heat gone from the nose, as you would expect, with ice.
Box full of seals.
Box full of seals. What are we talking about?
Seal box.
Oh gosh. Oh my God. I'm never gonna not think of that now.
Yeah, now you will.
Okay, very flat cola on the nose with ice.
We should
very sweet out.
We should, if we name, which we should name our single barrel from Foul North. If we sell it through Sealbox, we should be like Songle Barrel, box full of seals, or something like that.
That's it. Got to do it.
Yeah, it's done. We just need an artist. Oh, good. Your wife can do it.
Perfect.
Box full of seals.
Stickers. Yeah. If anything is worthy of just AI generation, we just
that's AI it right there. Yeah, we don't even need an artist. We just need a computer. I'm gonna do that right now.
Nice. While I tell you on the ice pour on the palate, do not ice your 13th Colony Double Oaked.
Oh, good to know.
Hopefully they forgive me themselves for putting ice in this just to try it. But on that last sip there with the ice, it was flat. It was not even as sweet, sugary on the palate. The oak, like the complexity of like having like a mouth moisture wicking tannic properties, those were all gone too. It was just kind of like if you let too much ice melt in your Coca-Cola and then you drink the last little bit of it that's like half melted ice. That's just kind of what it tasted like.
That's interesting.
So hard no on the ice there, but I should probably rate this, eh?
Yeah.
Did you generate a box full of seals?
Heck yeah, I did.
What does it look like?
Great. I'll show you.
Can you share your screen on the stream?
I should, yeah. You know what? I will, for the sake of our listeners.
Close all your stocks. Close all your
exactly.
stock portfolio.
Exactly. That's right. Let me see if I can just share this singular. Yeah, it's gonna be worth listeners for those who are caring.
I love it.
It's just
you know what? And yeah, let me pull up the old rating scale. Where's the old rating scale? All right. So while you're figuring out how to share your screen, this there it is.
Kind of cute. It's just a box full of seals.
That literally looks like a photograph, man.
Yeah, Welcome to Gemini. Yeah, pro.
Yeah, that's impressive.
That should be our first single Songo barrel. Yeah. So
Yeah,
anyway,
but yeah, what if it's not through seal box though?
we'll still make it through seal box by just putting a seal box on it. Yeah. It's as
Perfect.
simple as that.
All right, I'm gonna rate this, John.
Rate this,
This
John.
is this is this is A plus. You're not surprised.
Really? Nice.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. Hold on.
You could average it out with my meh. No, I'm kidding.
Let me get level-headed here.
Okay.
This okay, yeah, all right. I'm giving this A plus. I really I put some extra thought into it, but the thing that carries this into the plus territory for me is the finish. I think
Okay.
the finish lasts an extraordinarily long period of time, and
Okay.
it is also delicious the entire time. The
Mhm.
finish is a beautiful balance of sweetness and bitterness from extra oak
Ooh.
and having some moisture wicking in the front end and balancing with sweetness on the back end. And as I said, from my very first sip, it took me on a journey. I feel like I hit multiple levels throughout the
Cool.
sip and then landed in a very unique and fun place on the finish. So how could this not be A plus? I think
Yeah.
it's delicious. Letter score though, if we're still doing that, I feel like this is maybe like 9.2, 9.3.
Okay.
Where I feel like there's some other stuff that I've maybe said 9.4, 9.5 lately. I do feel like this is below some of my favorite Found Norths.
Nice.
And we're totally in personal preference territory here,
Yeah.
where like I think that it is a truly exceptional pour that made me say hubba what right away. I immediately recognized that this is special, so it deserves A plus, but
Nice.
it's maybe in the bottom echelon of
Nice.
A plus territory.
Like that. That's cool. All right, we've talked about ratings. Cole skipped his, but let's move it on to our next segment of the show, a segment we like to call Whiskey World News.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is Whiskey World News. We're going to read an article from one of our all-time favorites. This is an article, an email from Found North. We love Found North,
Nice.
as you know, as you've been listening. And Found North is introducing batch 10. They have a new batch coming out. I'm really excited.
Me
And
too.
actually, I'm willing to bet they ship us one of these for our barrel pick. So,
That'd be so
introducing Batch 10. Batch 10 embodies our vision for Canadian wheaters. It is a wheater, by the way. Old corn and younger wheat. While corn deeply benefits from decades of aging, we find that wheat quickly ages out of its unique buttery and minty profile. Because bourbon is made by combining the grains before distillation and maturation, weeded bourbon producers are stuck constantly compromising, either over aging the wheat or under aging the corn. That's interesting.
It is interesting.
So, in contrast, batch 10 uses a combination of two 23-year-old corn components and a
Dang.
19-year-old corn component as the foundation of the blend, making up 66% of the whiskey. These super aged corn components provide a thick, viscous structure and the resonant layer of brown sugar and baking spices that come with age. This structure complements the vibrant buttery quality and luscious mintiness from the 29% 8-year-old wheat. Luscious mintiness. Ooh. Achieving the ebullience, that's a word I don't know, of wheat and the
Dude, Nick
elegance
Taylor.
of ancient corn. Yeah, hell yeah.
Oops.
Batch 10 features a new component and a new grain, a 9-year-old malted barley aged
That's
in new
great.
American oak, even at 5% of the blend, which actually is quite a bit, if I'm not mistaken.
I think
5%
it
of the
is a little
blend.
less typically.
The malted barley brings oiliness and
Yeah.
rich layers of semi-sweet chocolate, creating a new dynamic within our conception of a Canadian wheater. So again, as a recap, this is 66% 9 to 23 year corn, 29% 8-year wheat, and 5% 9-year malted barley. So because of the youngest component in there, this is age stated 8-year wheat,
which is I think their least ever.
No, the Batch 5 was a 7-year.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, we'll find out.
Batch 5 was an 8-year, actually.
Okay, cool.
So anyway, it is cask strength. It is 123.8 proof. It is matured in New American Oak and ex-bourbon barrels. It is non-chill filtered naturally.
And that's not the name of the podcast.
There we go. The suggested retail price is $135. So when and how to buy? Moving to a lottery system. We view the buying experience at Found North as a piece of the whiskey itself, and we are striving to make that experience better, especially for our mailing list. Get in on the mailing list if you're not yet. With that in mind, we have moved to a lottery system for the release of Batch 10 and most likely our near-term releases. The lottery
they're not distributing?
No, they are definitely distributing. They'll always distribute.
But their own stuff.
The lottery, though, will open next Monday on September 30th and will close on Thursday, October 3rd. Ooh. What day is this episode coming out?
Monday,
September 30th.
Yeah.
Oh no, where are my show notes? Oh golly. All right, cool. So Monday. So yeah, if you're listening to this within the first couple of days, this episode comes out. Get on in there and sign up for this lottery here. We will send an email on Monday with detailed instructions on how to enter. So yeah, if you're already on the mailing list, you're going to get that email. Batch 10 will also be available in limited quantities in stores across the country starting in mid-October. Check out our store locator to find a store near you. So mid-October, we're having Nick Taylor on. An episode's going to come out on October 14th. With Nick Taylor on it.
Yeah, you're right. It'll be the 14th.
Am I right? 15th. I was like
15th. No, 14th.
October 15th is a Tuesday.
So you're right.
Oh, I love it. Okay, cool. So yeah, we're gonna hit up Nick Taylor on this, and you'll get an episode from us with details on Found North Batch 10, which by the way, there's already a label created. It is on its way to Cole and me right now for immediacy.
Ayo. Yep.
So anyway, super excited for that. Found North doing great things. Sign up for the mailing list. That is the most crucial and key part of all of this for you, dear listener.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta go look at the label real quick.
Oh, did you see the label? Because Batch 5 being the only wheater previously, it has a brownish tint to it on Batch 5. And I believe they maintained some sort of that on Batch 8. It's got like this extra like dark, and like some of the promo photos look black, but I think it's like a really, really dark brown. I think they maintain the brown wheater color for Batch 8. I guess we'll pick Nick Taylor's brain when we see him.
Yeah, that's cool. Plus, it's a classy bottle,
as always.
Yeah.
So I am sliding into what whiskey would you choose, unless you have anything to say about Found North.
Nope. Excited
is
hopefully my taste buds are back.
Yeah. Oh, hopefully. Yeah. All right. So last week we asked you on Instagram, please tune in. You can vote on these polls if you want. If you follow us on Instagram, the poll last week was, which whiskey ick is more rage inducing? We got some polarizing results here.
We did.
So I asked, entitlement and berating store managers, and Cole asked you to vote on people shitting on Blanton's.
But I didn't use that wording.
No, he said it. Tune into previous episode. Hear Cole say his first curse word ever.
Episode. Give it a few more views.
So when Blanton's, it's truly decent, but like people just talk too negatively on it for what it's worth, taking at face value. So anyway, the votes came in though. The votes were actually 80% to 20% here.
Dang.
in my favor.
Yeah.
So entitlement and berating store managers obviously is a huge ick.
I agree.
And won the poll there. But we got some write-ins. We asked you, please tell us, what is your whiskey ick? What is your least favorite thing about the culture of what people do and what just upsets you the most? So first off, Madtown marketer Ben Klepsik, he says gimmick/trendy finishes that that mask or don't enhance the core spirit at all. So it's like,
I don't know,
purely
just sound like a good time. You know what I'm saying?
But it's oh wow. So what Ben was saying though was like to have something be finished in a way that just makes up for the fact that it's a terrible whiskey. Yeah. So Dramhound wrote in too, and he says store owners questioning why I spend less than 1 minute in the store.
They're like, why don't you ever buy anything? I'm like, because you don't have anything.
Or you just walk right in and you see how hilariously priced everything is, and you turn right back around and you say, I'm not spending a dime in here. And he also said pushing out one limited edition after another when they'd have one or two per year. One or two per year, limited editions. Oh, it's so limited. So Bourbon Van wrote in.
Oh, good to hear from them.
Yeah, right. And Bourbon Van says, so many pedants. Oh, dude, I gotta look this up. Oh, it's like somebody who's being pedantic. Oh man, my English teacher is cursing.
Oh
right
now.
Like
somebody concerned with the minor detail. Yeah. So okay, I have a story about this. I literally was at the ABC store the other day, and this guy's complaining to the employee at the ABC store saying, is it supposed to be like 10 years per age statement year, or $10 per age statement year? And so he was looking at an 8-year. Yeah, he was looking at an 8-year, or maybe he was looking at a 10-year, and the 10-year was aged, or it was priced at $80. And then he was looking at a 13-year that was priced at $125. And so what he was doing, and I saw his math, and I was like, "Where are you going with this?" And he went, "Isn't it supposed to be like this is such a ripoff?" He's like, "If you see the difference, 3 years difference between this $80 bottle and this $125 bottle, 3 years difference, and it's $45 different." And he's like, "Aren't they supposed to do like $10 per age statement?" And I'm like, "Sure about that?" And I was like, just trying to be nice, but also be like, "Sure about that?" And he's like, and then the funny thing was, I go, $125 bourbon for, 13-year bourbon for $125. You sure about that? And he's like, "No, that's like $15 a year." I'm like, "You sure about that?" And he's like complaining about the minuscule stuff, and like I see where his mind went of like the difference in years was 3 years, but the difference in the price was $45. Right. But that's not how we do this. We don't look at differences. So that was what happened to me at the ABC store like 2 days ago.
So the Bourbon Van says, just let people enjoy things.
Yeah.
Don't be so
pedantic. People's way. Yeah.
So 480 Whiskey says, quote, thoughts or how did I do? Like when you see posts on Reddit where somebody posts like a photo of like Russell's 13 and they say, or Russell's 15 and they say
crap
thoughts, or no. Like when somebody is,
where they just want their post to be
and they just want comments on their post.
I'm glad you brought that up because I had no idea where he was going with that.
They know what they've got. But still they're like, how did I do? I just paid $44.99 for a Weller Foolproof. They're like, how did I do? Like just trying to get people to comment on their post. Like, come on.
Like, is my wife hot? I don't know. That's what I think of. It's like posting something and be like, isn't my wife beautiful? And you're like, yeah, sure, I guess, whatever.
You would say that on your anniversary. You would
No,
say
my wife. Oh, actually, it's funny you say that because
that.
that never crossed my mind. But people are gonna be like, "Yeah, Cole, whatever." I'll be like, "Thoughts on my 11th anniversary and my beautiful wife who gets more and more beautiful every year? Thoughts?"
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, we'll
Oh
count it
man, you
now.
got my
We'll literally
mind
put
on
that on the. Don't put a picture of my wife, but just be like, "Cole,
oh.
11 years married. Thoughts?" or something. Just like a story this week, like a poll, a short answer
Well,
poll.
and thoughts or how did I do? So yeah, we should.
Yeah,
What you're
exactly.
saying
How
is
did
we
I do?
should put a picture of your wife up and say, "How did I do?"
Yeah, we should say, "How did Heather do?" as opposed to "How did Cole do?" Yeah,
Right.
like, and then just show a
All
picture
right.
of me, like, and be like, "I don't know, not
Oh,
worth 11
man.
years."
Tune in on YouTube to see the face Cole just made.
Yeah, exactly.
Moving on, the whiskey shaman, he says
Hey,
transparency
yeah,
is his ick, like just tell us where the whiskey
yeah,
came from. And obviously the distillery who distilled it, they have the right to
yeah,
have their
and
name
they're
withheld
NDA that crap.
from the
Yeah,
bottling. But like, man, if we could hear, if we could know, that would just mean so much more to us as the
that'd be cool.
consumer. So
Yeah,
Marco and AZ, two write-ins from Marco. Thank you very much. He says, distilleries keep everything secret. Just give us transparency, just like the whiskey shaman said.
samesies.
And then in addition to that, Marco said, people stand in line to get primo bottles while the rest of us have to go to work in person.
Stinks to be a teacher and
Stinks to
not
be
work
a
from
teacher.
home. Although
Work from
Marco's
home.
got skills. Marco's got
Yeah,
skills. He can
that's true. That's
translate
true.
them. Yeah.
So lastly, we got a write in here from Whiskey Drinking Panda, and the Panda
Joey
says,
G.
if wineries can ship direct to consumers,
It's
why
so real.
can't distilleries?
So
I know,
real.
right? Cut out the middleman on that one.
Cut out the middleman. Hey, they can make more money that way. Distilleries.
That's true. That's true. Direct and save
Direct
us
to
a little
customer.
money too if they meet us in the middle a little bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I got a question for you here, Cole.
Bring it on.
That question is, I realized that I never go for scotch.
Yeah.
Like all my questions are usually centered and expecting answers around American whiskey. So the question now to on the 13th Colony episode
Yeah.
to our 13th Colony listeners is, it's Scotch night. What are you drinking? What in your collection are you
In your
pouring
collection.
on
Yep.
Scotch night? Do you need a minute to think?
Well, I was thinking Highland or like peated or unpeated is what came to my mind. And I think I'm
Ooh,
gonna go peated here.
nice.
And I think I'm gonna go this bottle right here. Ardbeg
What is it?
Hypernova.
Ah,
Yeah.
nice.
Mhm.
That's so funny.
Still got
I
probably half a
almost
bottle
went
of that. Mhm.
I almost went Ardbeg.
Can't not.
What is it? What's
Anamorphic.
the one? Anamorphic. Thank you.
But you're almost
Goodness.
done that bottle,
Yeah. Well, so
says
that's
the
why I
notch
didn't.
scotch drinker.
I know. Yeah.
Mhm.
I only have so much left in that
Good
bottle. So I was
gift.
like, if it's just Scotch night and it's not
Mhm.
like I'm not celebrating anything,
Mhm.
yeah. Could have been, what whiskey are you drinking on your anniversary in honor of Cole?
That's
Uh
true.
no, but we do that too often.
We've
We do
done
that.
that. Yeah.
So anyway, what whiskey am I drinking just on a regular Scotch night? I'm reaching for the Gordon MacPhail. I think it's a
Nice.
13-year Kalila.
Kalila? Yeah.
Yeah, we did that on the drink
Yeah, that's
along and
good
it was
stuff.
really
Yeah.
good. It's so solid. And especially for the value too. I think it was only like $70 or something at Total
Yeah.
Wine. It
And
is
Kalila is
delicious.
underrated. All
I
the
know.
Isla except so Lafroig and Lagavulin are not underrated, but they're not overrated.
Yeah.
But all the others are underrated. Like everything from, Kilchoman to Ardbeg to Boonahaven. I mean, I'm right.
Ooh.
Bruichladdich.
Yeah.
And of course, Ardbeg, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And Kalila.
So
Yeah.
I'm reaching for that Gordon MacPhail Kalila. Delicious. And our Patreons, our patrons who pay for the
have already
$10 tier,
sipped such a good thing.
they all got a sample of the Gordon MacPhail Kalila. So shout out to our Patreon, by the way. Look it up. Chillfiltered.com. Nope. Patreon.com/chillfiltered.
And shout out to all our Patreon people who are patient with us during the month of September. We will be celebrating our September drink along next weekend, this coming weekend rather.
Perfect.
And then we'll do another one at the end of the month for technically October, and then we'll do one in November as well. So, but most people have probably received their drink along stuff by now. There's going to be a few that didn't yet, which sucks, and I'm sorry, but they're coming. So
nice.
I gotta send yours via courier, Brian, like tomorrow. First thing tomorrow.
Oh yeah. I don't have the Old Forester Rye is the Barrel House Rick 3, the I3, I think.
You don't have those?
No, I don't. I didn't keep one of those for myself. That all went out to Patreons. I didn't keep one for myself at all.
What a baller. Let's hear it for Brian.
Hey.
Selfless.
Thank you very much.
Although he opens all of his bottles before the no,
sip the top. I wanted to take the neck pour off the Raconteur Rye. Yeah.
Of the sample bottle, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Wait, did you do it of our pool sample or this sample?
The pool.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. That is right there. What?
Nice.
Right there.
It's closed. It's sealed.
Yeah, right. Sure. Yeah, sure it is. No.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we're going to be between this Raconteur Rye. Like we said, in 2 weeks, we're going to do the Found North. But next week, we're either going to do Raconteur Rye or Maker's 2024 Cellar Aged, which is older, right? It's like slightly
I want to say I heard that it was 1 year older.
Because last year, I believe, was an 11 and 12 year. I believe this year is just a 12 year or something. I might be wrong. We'll figure it out next week. So what do you want to drink, or what do you want us to review next week, listeners? You can drink it too if you have it. Raconteur Rye or Maker's Cellar Aged 2024. Let us know on Instagram.
Perfect. Well,
yeah, like we said, no re-entry buzz this week. And just pray that my taste buds come back. So
already calling it now. Yeah. Okay. Wait. Hold on. Give a post sip recap here. Are you dissatisfied with your sipping experience because of COVID?
I mean, I didn't get what I wanted out of this whiskey. Is that what you mean? Yeah. I mean, it's just it was all kind of the same taste. Even the rye entry buzzed on was similar in taste. So it's I can't differentiate yet, but hopefully I will soon.
Not quite there.
Yeah. Which sucks.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry.
I hope that my taste buds come back next week.
And I also hope that your taste buds come back, because that's critically important.
Critically important. Like, what am I if I'm not tasting?
Yeah, I know, right? But if you're not tasting whiskey, I hope you can at least mostly taste whatever delicious anniversary dinner you're having tonight. Steak dinner?
Steak dinner. Yep.
Steak dinner.
Me too, Brian. But most of all, listeners, I hope that our love of whiskey lifted your spirits. All
right, you ready for this? 1, 2, 3.
I'm ready. Right in front of the. Ooh, another good one.